Hey guys, welcome back to Supercar Street Racing once again. You can see Joe and I are out here in the Supercar Street Racing garage. We have everything set up to do an awesome project today. So Joe, what's one problem we need to get fixed on this golf cart?
Well, if you guys remember in a prior video, we did a full system in my golf cart, but at the time I had an old subwoofer sitting around. That old subwoofer didn't last very long with the system that we put in here. I have no bass right now.
Right, so we did notice that your old subwoofer box, when we did that last project, that box is actually falling apart. I don't know if it's got wet so many times or if it's just old, but basically when we did that last project, there were actually pieces of wood of the MDF falling directly off the box. Now we actually do have that box somewhere. We'll show that to you guys here in a few minutes and show you what actually happened with that. And today we are so happy because we have a new sponsor.
That's correct, yeah.
So who is that sponsor?
That's Crutchfield.
Absolutely, Crutchfield decided to go ahead and sponsor this video. So today we have some products by Crutchfield that we're going to be throwing into this golf cart, and we have a piece of wood right here that we're going to be using also to do what?
Build a new subwoofer box.
We're going to build a subwoofer enclosure. We're going to go ahead and calculate the volume. We're going to do the measurements. We're going to cut all the wood. We're going to do that all today, so hang out with us.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Joe, we're back in the Supercar Street Racing garage again. It seems like we're in here all the time. And today we have a cool project. We have to get the base on this cart redone because basically the woofer blew up and the box was falling apart, right?
That's correct, yep.
So what's our plan today? What are we actually gonna do?
So as you mentioned, we got this great sponsor by Crutchfield.
Right.
They've provided us some really awesome products, including a very nice subwoofer. So in this particular situation, although Crutchfield has an enormous amount of subwoofer boxes in very different sizes, for us, we are doing a very unique situation because we're putting it in a golf cart and we need to maximize the space that we have inside there to put a 12-inch subwoofer. So it's going to be very unique. So they supplied us with all the stuff that we need to do a DIY project ourselves.
They did. So inside the house, we'll show you guys this in a few minutes. We have a brand new Kicker comp subwoofer. It's a dual voice coil, 4 ohm per voice coil. So what we're going to do is we're going to parallel those voice coils, and that's going to be a 2-in load on the amp that's inside of the golf cart right there. We'll show you that a little bit also later. We also have some carpet, so we're going to try custom carpeting your brand new enclosure.
Yep.
And then we also have a square speaker terminal thing. So that goes on the side of the box and connects to the woofer voice coils, and that's how we will supply power to your subwoofer.
Absolutely.
So all that's inside, but for right now, we also want to take a look at the old subwoofer. Can you go ahead and pull that out?
Let's pull it out. So I've already disconnected it. And if you can, flip that seat down, Brad.
Right.
And let's take a look at this thing. I found this subwoofer a long time ago on the side of the road, and it was in decent shape, but over the years sitting in the garage, it's just been weathered too much, and we did a quick carpeting job on it, but one of the things is that the carpet is completely falling off, and that's really stemming from the box falling apart. As you can see, all the particles on the side of it.
Wood's coming off.
Yep, and that happens, right? So this was a quick job at the time, but we knew we needed to upgrade. So on top of that, as a 10-inch subwoofer that was in here, I think this is made by Boston Acoustic.
It was.
It was, and as you can see, the dust coil, I think that's what they call that, is falling off of it.
Dust cap, yeah.
Yep, and then I think it's also got some other issues with it. So obviously it's time. We needed an upgrade. The 10-inch subwoofer for this cart sounded good, but I wanted some more bass. I wanted to be deeper bass, so we went with a 12-inch for this particular project. Out with the old, and then we'll start putting in the new.
We're not going to do ported. We're going to do a sealed enclosure. Sealed enclosures hit tighter. They don't go as deep low as far as low frequencies go, but they are tighter bass, and we're not going to bother with the port or anything like that this time. We also have some polyfill to throw inside of the box, and polyfill helps the box seem like a bigger box to the woofer that is mounted into it.
Yep.
Now also, we're going to have to mimic this enclosure style because we want it to fit just like the old one. But at the same time, we do have a 12-inch woofer that we're going to be putting in here. This is a 10. So we're going to have to figure out if we have enough width to actually hold the 12. And also, we probably want to make it as big as possible because the 12-inch woofer needs a certain amount of airspace. And I believe it was anywhere from 0.75 cubic feet to 1.5 per driver. So we're going to try to get as close to that as we can. And if we can't, we'll have to deal with what we have. We have a limited amount of space down here, as we will show you guys here in a few minutes.
And one last thing, whoever built this box at the time, they used an old style of just cutting a hole in the back and then sticking the speaker wire out of there. So that's letting air out, right?
Right.
We don't want that. So that's
Correct.
why Crutchfield was nice enough to send us over a new speaker connector, which is going to be a nice connection, perfectly sealed. It's going to be great.
And also you can see as we're working on it, you guys can't quite see this, but literally the box is all over the back of the golf cart now because it is literally disintegrating as we look at it. So what's our next step? Should we show them all the brand new stuff we got from Crutchfield?
Absolutely.
All right, why don't you grab this old disintegrating box and let's get out of
I
here.
got a plan for this old box too.
Okay, we're back in the garage and we brought all the stuff out that we got from Crutchfield. The only thing Crutchfield did not provide, just because I forgot at the time, was this polyfill for inside of the box. But they did provide this 12-inch dual voice coil kicker comp woofer. This is the CWR12, and I'm really hyped to see what this thing can do in our own custom enclosure.
Absolutely.
What do you think about this compared to the old Boston acoustic subwoofer that we had before? It's a different age,
Yep.
a lot newer technology, and do you think that this is an advantage that we have a much newer style woofer with new technology?
Absolutely. On top of that, it's a 12-inch subwoofer, right?
Correct.
So that's going to be one of the things that we're going to be dealing with. Is that's why we're building a custom box, but to maximize the amount of volume at the same time. So we have some tricks up our sleeve to get the volume that we need.
We do.
Hence why we had the polyfill. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Also, we got some carpet here from Crutchfield. It's just standard enclosure carpet for speakers. It is black, and we probably have enough to do 25 boxes, so we'll have some extra for the future. And then what was the last thing we got from Crutchfield?
Yeah, we got this nice connector here. So we haven't opened it up yet, but pretty simple. So this is what's going to seal that off. So when you have that connection from your speaker wire from the amp that goes to the subwoofer, it makes that clean connection.
Right, and also when we put that in, we'll go ahead and caulk around it so it'll be absolutely sealed all the way around here. And if you notice on the back, it has the spade type terminals. I have a bunch of those. I have all the solder stuff for that. So we're gonna do it correctly when we do it. We're gonna do everything the right way so that it looks nice and that it performs great. So one cool thing about ordering from Crutchfield as opposed to something like Amazon is their technical support is amazing. They offer full lifetime technical support. That means when we're 75, if this woofer dies, we can call them and say, hey, this woofer's doing this, and they'll offer us free technical support. How do you feel about that?
Well, that's awesome. That's a great benefit from buying directly from Crutchfield.
And they have so many good technical support features that we'll touch on some of those during this video. But for right now, we want to talk about our enclosure and what we're going to be doing to build our enclosure.
Absolutely. All right, so one of the things that we have to go over is how we're going to build this box, right? So I went out and got ourselves a nice big old piece of 3/4 MDF for us, right? MDF is the preferred wood that most people use when they build a box. It's really good, it's strong, and it holds up, and it makes a great sound at the same time.
Absolutely. They recommend not using plywood or anything like that because of the sound qualities of the plywood. You can see we have some MDF over here, and basically all MDF is it's like shavings of wood that are pressed together and glued together.
Absolutely.
So when they cut other wood, they take that, they press it together, they glue it, and that makes this big, huge sheet of MDF right here. Now, how much was that sheet?
Yeah, I paid about $50 for it, so wood prices are a little up, but not too bad.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So we have this right here. Now, what are we gonna do in order to go ahead and measure? Where are we starting? What is our starting point for building?
Yeah, so the first thing that we want to do is we obviously want to get down here and take some really good measurements. We want this thing to fit in there really snug, maximize the space because we have a big subwoofer going in, but at the same time, what we don't want is a big bulky box sticking out. So we're really going to get down and take some serious measurements and make sure this box is perfect.
Right, that sounds good. And then once we measure everything, how are we going to go ahead and mark that out and cut it on the actual wood?
So we have a couple sawhorses that we have set up outside. So we're going to get the MDF set up out there. We're going to take our measurements and then we're going to go out there, take a pencil, we're going to lay it out, cut to the size that we need. From there, we're going to obviously start to assemble it.
Okay.
Part of that assembly is making sure that everything fits up correctly, screwing it together while using wood glue to make sure that we got a good bond so it stays together nice. After that, we're going to need to caulk it to make sure that we're sealing up every opportunity that we have so air doesn't escape.
So we have a couple of tubes of caulk in there that I found in the shed a few minutes ago. We'll use that in all the seams on the inside. We should be able to go through the actual 12-inch hole for the last board to go ahead and caulk that last little section. We can just use our fingers and run it in the inside.
Absolutely.
And then after that, do we have a plan for carpeting? I thought I saw you watching a video about how to do like the edges and everything and fold over the carpet.
I did. So I carpeted the last box and that was kind of a rush job, but I wanted to make sure I did it perfect. So sometimes it's not bad to just go on YouTube and watch someone else give you some advice on doing it. So I watched a quick video video, and I'm going to try to duplicate that, and I think it's going to end up being really nice.
And you don't just cut it straight. There's a special pattern you cut, and then everything folds over nice and neat, huh?
Yeah, really, really easy. So one of the things that we're going to have to do is obviously make a cutout for this to get inserted in there.
Yeah,
so
how are we going to do that?
So you have a jigsaw, so we're going to obviously get a template made. I believe that this is going to be pretty simple because we're going to lay this down, do a quick measurement, cut the hole out where it needs to go, and this will sit flush right in the box.
Yeah, I kind of have an idea of what I want to do with that. So it's the inner square here that's going to flush mount. So we'll take that, we'll measure that, we'll cut it, and then we'll just take a drill bit, put a drill hole there, and we'll jigsaw this out nice and neat. That'll sit nice and flush. It'll look great on top of the carpet, and the carpet will seal off any of the airflow, so we don't really have to do any caulking on the inside.
I don't believe so. Nope.
So that sounds like our plan for actually building the box, but first, we got to get a bunch of measurements done.
We do.
Let's get down here and take a look at what we have and get some measurements done on this cart.
Let's do it.
We're back in the garage with another sponsor on Supercar Street Racing. We have this awesome AIXPI. We don't quite know how to pronounce it. We did some research, but we couldn't find it. So we're gonna call it AIXPI or AIXPI, this solar sensor light here. And I'm pretty hyped about this, Joe. This is pretty cool. What do you know about this thing from looking at the facts?
It's LED, which is nice.
240 LEDs also.
Exactly, and it's solar powered. So
Right.
you never have to have any power supplied to it. It's ready to go at any time.
Right, now here's the sensor part of it. So this is what detects your actual motion. And so this thing is solar powered. You can see the solar cell right here, how it charges. There's the connector that you mount this with. They give you another little bracket here. So basically what you do is you mount that to your house or your gutters or whatever. Then this thing just simply slides right there.
Yep.
All right, so this thing is not fully charged. Admittedly, it's been sitting in the kitchen, but you can see when I turn it on, it flashes. It's pretty bright, even
very bright.
completely dead. So thank you AIXPI for this awesome solar security light. 3,000 lumens is pretty bright, and it's just got a tiny little lithium-ion battery sitting inside this little box right here. Now let's get back to the video and see what's going on at Supercar Street Racing.
All right, so we're gonna take a couple of basic measurements right now.
Right.
One of the things that I really wanna do is to get as much space as possible for the volume that we need for the speaker. With that, I also want to make it as clean as possible and flush so that when this box goes in here, we don't have folks that are sitting on the back riding around having the speaker box pushing out. So with that, I'm going to hit the bottom here. It tapers back a little bit towards the top, but I can't worry about that. My measurements need to be where I know it can fit.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is we're going to do 14 inches deep.
Okay.
We're going to maximize the width, maybe a little bit shorter. We'll make a call on that, but we can go up to 18 3/4.
Okay.
And then on the height, we're going to try to really get as much as possible, but we have to keep room for the subwoofer because it's facing up. And there are some metal brackets that run across the top here, so we have to be very careful that we leave enough room for not only that subwoofer to fit in there, but for the excursion of the subwoofer, the up and down of the subwoofer.
Exactly, and also the top of the subwoofer probably sits a little bit up. We have to open it up to really get those exact details though.
Absolutely. And it looks like we've got roughly 13 1/4 on that. So what we'll probably end up doing is making this box roughly maybe 10.5 to 11 inches tall to give us the room that we need.
So when you measured your 14-inch depth, did you measure to the edge right here?
I did. Well, I measured it just here, although it will stick out a little bit, but your legs will not sit on it because your legs are going to come out here. So it's going to come right to this part over here.
Okay, that sounds great. That looks like the measurements that will work for us. So now let's go ahead and unbox the actual subwoofer right here. What do you think?
Sound good? All right, so we're gonna go ahead and pull this subwoofer out, get a couple of basic measurements on here. The biggest thing that we're worried about right now is the height of where it's gonna sit above the box that we build itself to make sure that we have room for the subwoofer to sit on top and to have the room for it to move up and down. So let's take a look at it. All right, inside the box, always awesome is we got a nice sticker there to put somewhere, usually on a good outdoor refrigerator. And inside the box, we got this beautiful, nice, brand new competition kicker subwoofer. It looks amazing.
We don't need that where we're going?
All right, so let's go and open this thing up and get inside here. All right, I will say, just from the looks alone, this is a beautiful looking subwoofer. The first thing I noticed is that the outside is very strong and it's got this really strong red stitching inside. It's a really great looking subwoofer here. So this is a competition speaker, and although I'm not going to be entering any competitions with this, It's going to drive really good solid bass. So I don't have to turn it up too loud to drown it out. It's going to have really good deep tones in it. On the back, we got a really nice large magnet on the back, and then we have great connections right here. It's a 4 ohm dual voice coil. So there's 2 connections on both sides, positive and negative. One of the great things about this speaker already is the easy setup for putting the speaker wires in there. It's a push connection. So you push this open, slide your speaker wire right in there, let off, and it puts the nice connection. And now we're going to pass this over to Brad to give you some more technical aspects of this great subwoofer.
Okay, we're right here in front of the Kicker Comp 12-inch woofer. It is the Comp R. Now this guy has 500 watts RMS power handling. The RMS part means it's the average power that it can handle. It can handle up to 1000 watts peak also. Now taking a look at this woofer, if you're unfamiliar with dual voice coil woofers, basically there are 2 connections here. There's one on each side here, and what that means is each voice coil has an impedance level. This impedance level here is 4 ohms, this one is 4 ohms. So depending on your amplifier and what the actual ohm load it can handle is how you wire up this woofer. If you put both of these voice coils here in parallel, it'll be a 2 ohm load presented to your amplifier. If you put them in series, it would be an 8 ohm load. So for our amplifier can handle a 2 ohm load. We're going to take off of this voice coil, go to this voice coil, and then off of this voice coil, go down to the connector. That's going to present a 2 ohm load to the amplifier. We can prove that with an ohm meter also. We can put it on the end of the second wire here as we loop here and then out. We should see a 2 ohm-ish load at the amplifier.
All right, so here we are on to our next step. We took some really good measurements, and one of the things that we were most concerned with was the height of the actual subwoofer because it's going to be facing up. So with that, we had roughly 13 1/4 to play with, so we're going to reduce our height down to about 12 inches. That gets us about 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 of play to make sure that we have enough room for the top of that subwoofer to not only sit in there, but to have room for it to go up and down. All right, so one of the most important measurements for us was to make sure that we had enough room for the subwoofer to sit in there. So we roughly have about 13 1/4 inches of height that we can play with. We're going to reduce that down to about 12 inches. That's going to be more than enough room for that subwoofer to sit on the top and have room for it to go up and down. So what we're going to do is take a few minutes here to kind of outline the box itself. So there's going to be quite a few cuts. One of the things that we don't have at our leisure is a nice big table saw. So we're going to be doing this by hand. So to make sure that we get as best cuts as possible, I have this straight edge here that we're going to use to clamp down to make sure that when we're running our skill saw that we get a nice clean cut. So we're going to take a few minutes right now to take these measurements, transpose them onto our MDF and start outlining all the cuts that we need to get done. And then from there, we can start to assemble the box. So we took a couple of minutes to make sure that the measurements were correct. And we went ahead and wrote them down just so that you guys can understand what we're doing. So the first thing is that we got to put a top and a bottom and 4 sides. So for the top, we know that we needed 18.5 inches in width and we had 14 inches of depth to put it towards the back of the golf cart. So with that, we just times that times 2. So our tops are going to be 18.5 inches by 14 inches. Easy cuts for those. Now we need to do the 4 sides. Our 4 sides are not equal because the front and the back are going to be 18.5 inches, which will match the width. However, we need to go 10.5 inches to take in consideration that this is 3/4 inch MDF. So with that being sandwiched between the top and the bottom, we needed to take off 1.5 inches. So we wanted to get to 12 inches, so we're going to do 10.5 inches on that. And then for the left and the right, that one, it's 14 inches. In regards to the depth, same thing, 10.5 inches to make sure that we have the room to sandwich it to get to our 12 inches. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and lay out the exact measurements that we want. So one of the things that I always try to do is we have plenty of wood here. So I don't mind having a little bit of scrap left over, but I always try to utilize any of the factory edges. So we need 2 cuts on this particular one. So what we're going to do is measure out 14 inches for the top. So on here, we're going to lay out 14 inches and then we're going to have 2 cuts here to complete the top and the bottom, which are going to be roughly 18.5 inches. All right, so here we are. We're going to take the time to cut this out. We got a little break in the weather, so we're going to make this pretty fast. Like I said, we had already laid out all of our measurements. So from here, we're just going to make our quick cuts, get back inside as quick as possible. So again, we don't have a table saw. So to try to get this to be as even as possible, I'm going to take this straight edge here. We're going to clamp it down so that we can bump our skill saw right up against it and make a quick so we can make a quick cut and hopefully it's nice and straight. You're pinching it. Are you ready? Okay. And for the sake of time, I'm turning and burning here, all right? You ready? If you blow us off, we can come back inside the garage, close the door.
Yep. Guys, I am so happy to announce Crutchfield as an official sponsor for Supercar Street Racing, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about what makes them special. Now, one of the biggest things about Crutchfield is obviously their technical support. You have free lifetime technical support on everything. You get a 60-day price drop protection at Crutchfield. 60-day returns is also awesome. They offer that. They have all kinds of information on their website like DIY articles and videos, a huge car stereo database. They can figure out what fits your car. They also offer free custom vehicle instructions, car-specific installation packages, research, wiring, and things like that. They've been doing it since 1974. Check out Crutchfield. I will have a link in the description. Buy what you need from them and support the channel, and let them know Supercar Street Racing sent you. All right, as you guys just saw, we were outside cutting all of our parts for our enclosure, and you did a little rough math on ChatGPT. And how big was that box?
Yeah, so it actually came out to about 1.29 cubic feet in volume, which is perfect.
Absolutely perfect. The Woofer has, I think, a range of 0.75 cubic feet to 1.5.
I believe so.
Feet, so that's perfect. So what is our next step here?
Yeah, we're gonna get into the assembly part of it. So pretty straightforward. So I got a couple clamps. We'll kind of roughly put this together. The biggest thing is that we're gonna get our wood glue down. We're gonna clamp it together, and then we're gonna pre-drill our holes, because what we don't want is the wood to split. MDF is a little susceptible, even in the cut, when we cut it, a little piece chipped off. So to stop that from happening, we'll get this roughly put together with the clamps, put the glue on it, and then we'll take the time to pre-drill our holes, and then we'll countersink, if we want to, may not be necessary, our screws in there to make sure we get a good, nice contact and a good screw down.
Sounds great. Let's get to work.
Yeah, let's do it.
Got your drill ready here?
Yep, got a good bit. Where's our screws at, so we can make sure that we have the correct screw size.
Okay.
Make sure we got plenty of the same. These are 2.5. We're gonna pre-drill to get our holes, then we'll take it back apart, and then we'll glue it, and then we'll screw it back in, all right?
Okay, is this looking good right here?
Yeah, just so you can see in the center. Yep, perfect. Just go straight in. Okay. Perfect. Perfect. All right, so now we'll disassemble, get the glue ready.
Perfect. I'm wondering if we should have countersunk them, but I guess it doesn't matter.
Oh,
Got
no!
me.
I let go of it. It didn't hold.
Oh!
It is what it is.
Pop another one in there.
Nope, go ahead and screw that one in.
I'll make that-
Yep. All right, so as you just saw, we assembled the box. It actually went pretty smooth. We did have one little issue where I made one mistake on a cut, but that was very easy to fix. We just had to take a little bit more off. The box went together perfectly. The fact that we were using a circular saw and everything was almost perfect was shocking to me, to be honest with you.
And there's only like
That much
clearance.
It is absolutely sitting in there perfect. So our measurements were right on spot. The box is almost perfect. Very happy with it. So from here, what we're going to end up doing now is removing it and carpeting it. So we are not the best carpenters by any means, but I think we're going to be able to do a good job on this. So we'll let you guys follow along, but it goes pretty fast. And so far, this project's been pretty smooth. I think we're at about 3 hours in. The majority of our time is really moving cameras around, doing stuff. Yeah. So maybe we got an hour and a half maybe into this project so far. And once we get this carpeted, put in the speaker in, goes very fast, and we'll be done.
All right, should we get this box out of here real quick?
Let's do it. We're going to do our best here.
Next time you do it, you'll be an expert.
Maybe. Now, that together, this together.
Perfect.
Okay. You're going to hold this tight. Pull that and hold it tight. Pull it towards you. Okay.
That's sick. Should peel off, right? And then that flaps down and you're done.
Drape it over it, pull it hard again. It's actually not bad. That's not bad. All right, flip it over.
All right, guys, you just saw us carpet this enclosure with the half moon method that we borrowed from Soundman. And now what you're seeing is we're cutting out the hole for the speaker so that I can go ahead and start wiring. Now this wiring is going to involve going from voice coil to voice coil, first of all, to make this woofer in a 4 ohm to 4 ohm parallel load will be 2 ohms at the speaker connector. And then also what you're seeing is me crimping these connectors on and then using my heat gun to go ahead and heat shrink the end of the connectors onto the wire. So all that's happening right now, let's take a look at it. Now what you're seeing here is we are installing the woofer, and we're making 100% sure that we are covering up the surround with a piece of plastic while we're screwing in the screws so we don't make any stupid mistakes. All right, we're back, and we did install the subwoofer enclosure, and we've been adjusting the amplifier a little bit, the gains on the amplifier, just to compensate for a different subwoofer that might be a little bit more sensitive or less sensitive than the other one. We turned the gains down on channels 1 and 2, which are supposed to be the highs, but it's actually, I think, 3 and 4. But turn the gain down on that, and then when volume goes up on everything else, it'll bring the subwoofer level up. Because the subwoofer gains are maxed out on the amp. The amp is pushing as much possible power as it can, which means we also might need a second amplifier. But I was going to suggest, and I will send you a link to this, I was going to suggest we get a 12-volt USB fan and strap it right to the side of your amplifier and power it off of your inverter in there. It's got a USB port.
Keep it a little cool.
It'll cool your amp off and keep it from going into overheat. Okay, you can see the woofer clearly through the back here. If you ever pull up to a party or anything, all you gotta do is open the back hatch and you've got that woofer.
Yeah, and the other reason it's up right now is because this panel, it rattles. So we're gonna probably have to do some dynamatting. Sounds so good. Like, perfect. Sounds really, really good.
It is. That was a lot of power it was pushing for that. All right, that came out really good, but maybe we can do some improvements. What do you think about maybe improving the amplifier side of the bass?
Yeah, I think so. I think that the current amp is working, but this 12-inch subwoofer can handle a whole lot more power, and certainly with the battery that we have in this thing, it can take a bigger amp. So it might be a good idea to go on Crutchfield again, look around, see what makes sense, and beef it up a little bit.
Sounds good to me. I'll get in touch with Crutchfield tomorrow. Meanwhile, let's wrap it up from in here and throw it back to literally us.
Yeah.
Okay guys, so you just saw us build an entire enclosure for this club car. How did that go? How was it?
I thought it went pretty easy. I mean, we had a couple of tight measurements that we had to figure out, but otherwise, I think the whole box put together very nice. So you just saw us build the box from scratch.
Right.
Install it, test it, run it, and it turned out great.
Right, it did.
During the process, we need a little extra help. So one of the things that we're able to do is go to the Crutchfield site, do a little research on there. They got a lot of great stuff on there. They have videos, articles, a lot of various different links that help you out, which was tremendous amount of help for us when we built this.
And don't forget also their phone support. You can actually give those guys a call and they would be more than happy to walk you through anything that they can. And if they don't know it, I bet you they can find an answer.
Absolutely.
Today you saw us do all the steps to get that enclosure put into this 2017 club car. So if you have a club car and you'd like to copy our design, I'm gonna go ahead and put the dimensions down in the description. I'll put all the products that we use down in the description. Go ahead and click our affiliate links because that helps us out tremendously. Crutchfield wants you guys to use these links so they can see if you guys are engaged in watching supercar street racing.
All right, well, we're all wrapped up here. I just want to say thank you to everyone, including our sponsor today, to give us this awesome subwoofer that we put in, and to the 150,000 subscribers that you have obviously built up over a lot of work and a lot of time. So thank you all for subscribing.
Right.
If you haven't, like and subscribe. It's a super big help for us.
It is, and if you're just here, if you found the video somehow and you're not a subscriber, it does help a lot if you'll hit that subscribe button. Leave us a comment too. We're really interested in what you guys are doing on your club car. And if you do this same project, we want to know about it, and I want some video of it. I'll put it on my channel and feature it for everybody.
Love it.
Because we really hope that you guys like our design and you copy it.
Yeah, and you know what? We want to hear from you so that we know if we made some mistakes, we don't mind it, you know?
Absolutely. Part of the learning process is making mistakes, and we're fine with that. We kind of learn everything on the fly sometimes, especially like with this carpet job. That is an on the fly thing. That was the first time that we've ever tried that.
Correct.
All right, guys, we got to get out of here. We got to go to lunch because we're starving. Let's go. Let's go.